try this again. Let's try this again. My sincere apologies for the sound issue. Shout out to the person that sent me a super chat to get my attention so that I could realize there was no sound on the video. Shout out to you. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate you so much. I believe the problem has been fixed now. And so I'm going to wait until you guys, some people get back in the room, and then we will continue. Soon as I can confirm that I'm being heard. All right, we back. We back. Can y'all hear? Are we good? Is the sound good? All right. I'm so sorry about the sound issues, guys. Lord have mercy. Like this is getting crazy. This is really getting crazy. But I believe I figured out what the issue is. Okay, so we shouldn't have any issues moving forward. I just want to make sure we're good. All right, we got multiple people saying they can hear me. That's a good start. Yes, so we got to start all over. Absolutely. We got to start all over. All right, so I don't have a lot of time today. I have to be off of this live by 7:15, so I only have about 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to split the time, 10 minutes getting out the content, and then I got a quick 10 minutes to read some of the very, very best comments. So comment if you really, really have a question you want me to answer, something you want me to discuss. And if I were you, I would wait until I finish doing the reporting on what I have to report about legislation and then jump into the comments after. All right. So let's jump into it. Where we left off from the beginning. So Brad Garlinghouse put out a tweet saying the door to a deal is wide open. The banks just need to act in good faith and walk through it. And I was expressing what that deal means. Okay. So as of right now, we're asking the question, are they going to meet the deadline, that March 1st deadline? And what we have to understand is that deadline is not a hard pressed deadline where if they don't meet it, things are going to unravel and fall apart. It's a soft deadline as a target or a goal to try to reach. Now, as long as there's progress and things are still moving forward, it's okay if they don't meet the deadline. They may not get it passed on they may not come to an agreement by March 1st, but they may come to an agreement by March 6th, right? The anticipation is that they're going to come to the agreement soon, okay? And I have some things that I want to read to you so that you are in complete understanding of what's going on right now. Because if we're just really honest, if you're holding XRP and you want to be wealthy from holding XRP, there's nothing more important right now than legislation. Legislation passing, that event is the next biggest event for XRP holders, okay? So I'm going to read something that I put into Grok here, and it's going to give us a really good understanding of what's going on behind closed doors at the White House. I said, so we have some progress on the dispute, but we are not at a complete agreement yet. As long as there is progress, that's good. And Grok's response is, yeah, exactly. Progress is the key word here, even if it's incremental and not a full handshake yet. As of today, February 28th, 2026, the latest reports and statements align with what you've summarized. Bullet point 1, negotiations remain active and ongoing, with both sides still exchanging feedback on draft language for the stablecoin yield rewards provisions in the Clarity Act. Bullet point 2, the White House via Patrick Witt and the Crypto Policy Council, he's the one helping, be as mediator between the two entities, continues to mediate productively, and multiple industry voices, including crypto leaders, have pushed back against overly pessimistic anonymous leaks, emphasizing that the talks aren't collapsing. So that's in response to some journalists who put out some really, really fudding news recently stating that he had some anonymous source from some banker stating that this is not going to pass. We're really far off from a deal. This is nowhere close to being done, blah, blah, blah. Lies, people. Lies, lies, lies. Okay? Many people have come back, credible people, and have debunked that and said that it's not credible. So, next bullet point. Crypto has already made notable concessions, particularly dropping or severely limiting yield on idle passive stablecoin holdings. That's largely off the table now. So understand, this entire debate is about who can offer stablecoin yield. Should people like Coinbase, could entities like Coinbase, should they be able to offer yield just like banks? Well, they're saying, well, not if the stablecoins are just sitting idle and not doing anything. Then that's off the table right now. So that's a big difference from where we were. That's a very big difference from where we were. Now, the narrowed focus is on allowing activity-based or transaction-linked rewards. Example, incentives tied to actual usage, payments, or specific actions rather than just holding balances. So if you want to hold balances with your stablecoin and that's it, then you got to get that from a bank. But if you are using the stablecoin with some type of usage payment activity, then there may be some rewards that you can get from Coinbase associated with that. That seems like a fair compromise. So Coinbase is giving in now. The banks have to give in as well. They can't just try to hold the line and say, no yield at all for Coinbase. No, that's the door that Brad Garlinghouse is talking about. That door is wide open now. And if the banks act in good faith, then that's a fair compromise. And this thing is going to pass. Okay. So banks, through groups like the ABA, ICBA, and Bank Policy Institute, are still pressing hard against anything resembling deposit-like interest, but participants describe the dialogue as constructive rather than deadlocked. Okay? So there's going to be a stance there, and they're having constructive conversation. That's the process to get them to move. They have to move a little bit. The March 1st deadline is more of a negotiating pressure point than a hard cutoff. Sources close to the process, including banking side insiders, have said it's not do or die, and talks are expected to continue into the coming days and weeks without immediate breakdown. Brad Garlinghouse's recent post captures the current vibe well. The door to a deal is open. Crypto has compromised significantly, and now it's on the banks to reciprocate in good faith. Other crypto figures, example from Coinbase, have echoed support for the White House's role in highlighted potential compromises. Overall, this feels like classic high-stakes legislation, haggling, slow, with public friction and anonymous snipping. But the fact that drafts are still circulating and meetings keep happening is genuinely positive. If they land on that middle ground, no passive yield, but limited activity rewards, it could unblock the Clarity Act for Senate progress soon, potentially setting up a vote in the spring. All right. So that's what Grok had to say about it. And another part that I read that I thought was very interesting, because that was just one part of the thread that I read to you. At the end of, I asked Grok to explain the White House broker rule. The role that Patrick Witt is playing is this broker rule mediating type of role, and Grok was explaining that. But at the end, it said this brokering reflects the administration's push for a balanced, pro-innovation crypto framework while protecting traditional finance. Industry leaders like Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse have publicly supported the White House's role and expressed optimism about eventual passage. If resolved, it could enable features like compliant stablecoins on networks such as XRP Ledger while mitigating bank risks. That is the consequence of getting this legislation done, people, so that these stable coins can start getting built out. And they're going to be built out on networks like the XRP Ledger. And when that happens, XRP is going to be used to purchase billions and billions and billions and billions of trust lines. I keep trying to talk about that because I don't hear any other YouTuber talk about that. I don't hear any other YouTuber talk about the cost of trust lines associated with the tokenization of these real world assets and what it's going to do for XRP. So this is going to happen, people. It's going to happen. And when it does, there's not going to be left any other reason for banks not to start deploying their full capital, right? We'll see how the adoption begins to ramp up. All right, so people, I am about to jump into the comments with you guys. I have 10 minutes left. I got 10 minutes left. What's happening? Wendy's in the building. What's up, Wendy? How you doing? We got the regulars in the place. Thank you for being in the place. Job work. What will happen on Monday when the Clarity Act is not passed and missed the deadline? So see, I thought I said that already. Maybe I didn't. If you have to understand what's happening right now is discussions in the White House. That's what's happening right now. And if they don't reach a compromise by March 1st, then they're going to continue to compromise on March 2nd. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Nothing is going to slow down if they don't meet that deadline. It's a soft deadline. It's not a hardcore deadline. Okay. Now, once it passes, and let me help everybody understand the process. Once they come to an agreement in the White House between the banks and fintech companies, the next step after that is for it to officially go to markup. That's the next step. After that, the Senate is going to have to mark up the actual draft and vote on that. And that will pass, and that will allow it to then go to the Senate floor, and it'll be voted there. And after it goes to the Senate floor, it's going to go back to the House again for them to reconcile it one last time, and they're going to pass it. And then it goes to Trump. If your understanding is it's about to be passed by March 1st, they're trying to pass it by March 1st and it's going to Trump, you don't understand the process. Okay. Hopefully, though, this part of the process seems to be where the biggest hurdle is, which makes it so important. And so once we pass this hurdle, the rest of the passages should be pretty easy. And Trump could be signing this in April. So that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. Am I understanding the enormity of XRP and what is upon us as holders? I was moved to tears when I realized this blessed event that's upon us. You sound like somebody who gets it, Wendy. You sound like somebody who didn't just get information from something you heard on YouTube. You sound like somebody who did some research themselves and has true conviction on what this is. Yes, indeed. For me, them tears are going to come when XRP really hits those numbers. I haven't come to tears yet over the thought of what could be or what I think will be. But man, when it comes, oh, it's going to be some tears. That's good. Thank you, Jesus. It's going to be some snot and some tears, man. Oh, my goodness gracious. Y'all rock. You going to cry a river, Sway Zoland? I feel you. I feel you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got just a little bit more time with you. Got about 6 more minutes. If you have a great question, something involving XRP, I'd love to hear it. If you are on here and you disagree with my content for whatever reason, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you have to say as well. When are we going to cry like this, new mom? I feel you, new mom. That's what everybody want to know. I feel you. I feel you. I'm going to answer your question. Just understand, I don't really know. All right. I think this year or next year is the time. I think this year or next year is the time. It's the time. Utility season is going to start this year as long as legislation gets passed. If legislation gets passed, those rules are going to get written pretty quickly. I'm anticipating the rules that the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, who's the governing authority over securities, and the CFTC, the Commodities Futures, that department, they are over the commodities, right? So that's going to be the utility cryptos. They'll be over that part. So they have to write actual rules for all these institutions to be governed by that will collaborate with the legislation that was passed. There are a lot of specifics that need to be written, that need to be dealt with under the umbrella of the legislation. And they've already started the process. And from posts that we're reading from both agencies, it looks like these things are going to get done pretty quickly. And if that is the case, and we see the upgrades to the XRP ledger that are opening the door for banks, they're specifically for banks, permission domains, zero knowledge privacy. Those are upgrades that are specifically for banks. I need you to understand that. That means there's nothing. What's stopping them from joining now? What's stopping them from using this now and saving money at full scale, gaining a competitive advantage over the other banks who are maybe slower? I see a flywheel effect coming. And Bank of America is going to be first in line. How do we know that? Back in 2023, there was an XRP event where Bank of America, someone interviewed Bank of America, and they were on record from the person who interviewed them saying that when the lawsuit's over and when we get legislation, they are going to jump on board with XRP. Not crypto, XRP. That was a quote from a report that came out from Bank of America back in 2023. So that's always something we knew about Bank of America. And so if the flywheel effect happens, that's going to mean two things. Number one, it's going to mean extra volume and on-demand liquidity. It's also going to mean more XRP coming off the market because of the multiple reasons that banks are going to have to buy it. Okay? They don't have to buy it for on-demand liquidity. They have to buy it for many other things, the tokenization of assets. They need XRP for that. They're going to need XRP to participate in the lending pools for themselves. They're going to need XRP for so many utility purposes. They're going to need XRP to hold for collateralized loans. They're going to need XRP for institutional use cases as a regulated financial product. That's what XRP is. It's a regulated financial product. It's not just some crypto. It has real utility. And when that utility starts being used, the price is going to reflect that, people. That's the best I got. And that can start happening this year. How's that, new mom? Does that give you some insight on how long you may have to wait? I hope that does you good. Oh, Wendy, you said sorry for the typo. You were trying to mention the Kim Clement prophecy. Oh yeah, Kim Clement. That was a huge prophecy. Kim Clement prophesied about XRP before XRP was created. XRP was created in 2012. So in 2011, no one knew what XRP was. In 2011, Kim Clement made a prophecy. He said that there is a great energy coming to the earth that is going to be good to invest in. He didn't know what to call it, right? He didn't know what to call it. And he said, he saw the letters. He said, it's X something P. He said, I don't see the middle character. He said, it's X something P. He said that in 2011. And he said, this energy is getting ready to come to the earth. And he said it's going to come to the earth in the place where they've had some previous earthquakes, where those earthquakes were in California. And where was XRP created? With Ripple Labs in San Francisco. And the very next year after he said that, that's when XRP was created. That's when the energy was alive, where it came to the earth. You can't make this stuff up, people. This is live. You can go look at that video on YouTube right now. Just look up Kim Clement XRP. It's all over YouTube. That was in 2011 when he said that. 2011. So don't tell me God didn't say something about XRP. Brandon Briggs, another guy. I'm going to end it with Brandon Briggs. Y'all got to go. Brandon Briggs prophesied 3 months prior to Trump getting shot in the ear that he was going to get shot in the ear. He said there's going to be an assassination attempt on his life and that he was going to get shot on the ear. He said that on a YouTube video 3 or 4 months prior to it happening. And don't tell me Donald Trump didn't really get shot, because there were people who really died that day. There was an innocent bystander who died by a real bullet that day. You're going to tell the family of that person, that innocent person, that day was fake, that there was no real danger that day? People try to debunk stuff, man. This man prophesied this, and that's too specific. That's too specific. And it happened like literally 3-4 months later. This same man said he saw XRP go to $10,000. The same man. He said he saw XRP go to $10,000. So, and if you ask me, he's already proven he's a prophet. That was a very specific prophecy, right? I'd take what that man says seriously if I were you. But if you're asking me, $10,000 is just the beginning of the beginning for XRP. It's just the beginning of the beginning. And that could happen in 2027. It could get to $1,000 this year. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it can if the macro factors line up, and it's not impossible. Okay? So people, oh, Brandon is live right now? Okay, that's what's up. Well, y'all go watch Brandon, because I got to hop off. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get on as long as I'd like to today, but I got to go pick wifey up from work. So everybody, thank you so much for rocking with your boy. I appreciate all of you. I'll holler at you guys on the next video. Y'all be blessed and have a good one.